Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even if he dies. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Hey, this is Christine, your DIY craftaholic. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning, and if you are new, welcome. I am so excited to share 3 DIYs with you as a part of the Christ is Risen, which I'll talk a bit more in the video. But let's jump in. So for this one, I got this canvas, and I love this as it is, but I wanted to use the frame. I'm going to use the canvas for another DIY later on, but I'm removing the canvas. I'm making sure that I'm not cutting it because I don't want to spoil or lose any of it. So I'm just removing the staples. And once I got that done, I set the canvas aside. I think it is so pretty and it's very fitting, but I wanted to just use the frame. So I took some Waverly antique wax and I applied that around it, but it did not come out as bright as I wanted it to, but I decided to leave it as is. And this is a mesh ribbon from Dollar Tree. And as you can see, I thought about using the other color, but no, sometimes less is more. And I'm gonna glue that around. I wanted to wrap as many times, but I only had this roll and I didn't want to use all of it because I needed to do the other side. So what was remaining on the reel was just enough to go around the other side. But then before I wrapped the other piece, I should have tied the middle, but I got it done anyway. Tie the piece of jute in the center, and I do the same thing for the horizontal side. And that gave me my cross. As you can see, I forgot to press record, so that's what I got. I added some greenery there and made the bow from some ribbon I had in my stash from Dollar Tree and glued that on in the center. I wanted something else to just finish off the middle, and I found this laser cut rose in my stash, and I used the gold paint pen from Dollar Tree, I believe, to paint the rose and then glue that in the middle. And then I flipped it over and made a little jute hanging, and this little cross is done. I like how this is just simple, not too much, not too little, just right. Now this is the Christ is Risen open playlist hosted by our friend Favi from Arrows DIY and Linda from Faith Chick 777. I will leave links to their channels in the description box below. Make sure you go down and check them out after you get watching my video. And now we're moving on to DIY number 2. Now this scripture I printed off on my transfer decal, and this scrap wood I had used in a previous DIY. That pack of napkin I also got last year, and I'm going to use a sheet. Now because of how I wanted the napkin to fit on the board, I had to cut the paper, like cut them in many different pieces and then transfer them on. I didn't want to bore you with all of that, so I did that off camera. And here I am now then use the tip of my paintbrush to just, with some water to just give it like a jagged edge. Removing the napkin, I remove the back piece or ply. And then I applied some Mod Podge. I have been using what's left in this box, in this bottle for many DIYs now. Oh gosh, Christine, it's time. You can throw that out now, man. Come on. So I'm just using my finger to just remove these square edges and make it just look rugged. And then I applied the Mod Podge, and then I put the napkin down. Use the heat gun to just reactivate that. And then applied some Mod Podge over it to just seal everything in. Now this butterfly came from a transfer. I thought that this needed something else, So I took the butterfly, put it on, and I rubbed that on, and I think this little wooden sign is beautiful. And then I took a little Mod Podge now, and I'm just sealing everything in. This gingham ribbon I got from BB Craft was perfect because the color blended in with the rose on the napkin. And because I wanted to have like a tail, I've cut a small piece, folded that in two and dovetailed the ends. And then I glued that down. And then my burlap bow, trimmed that down a little bit. Well, no, I didn't trim it. Did I trim it? No, I just glued that on. And then here I am now going to add the jute back on. I trimmed it down a little bit, make it shorter, and then I glued that on. And that's done. Now we're on to DIY number 3. This inspiration came from Pinterest, but I'm going to make mine a little bit different. So I had this silver tray or platter from Dollar Tree. Because it's shiny, I took some Mod Podge, applied that to it, and that's just so that the paint would stay. Because if I applied the paint with all of that sheen, it would not work. And when that dried, I'm now going in with some Waverly plaster, and I gave that 2 coats and dried it. And then I took a piece of sandpaper and I'm just distressing that a little just to let some of the sheen come back through. This is a pack of silicone mold I got from Amazon, and off camera I made some roses. I needed some more, and this is from the air dry clay that I got from Dollar Tree. They only had this color and I had to make it work because I wanted some roses. So here I'm just adding the clay to the mold, and I left that many days to dry. But while that was drying, I took some tumbling tower blocks and I made the cross using some wood glue and hot glue. And I also sat that aside to dry. If you are new to my channel or coming over from the playlist, welcome. I'm so happy you joined me today. Here on my channel, I do DIYs on a budget, dupes, look for less, and some occasional Dollar Tree shopping hauls and thrift flips. If you love budget-friendly DIYs like these and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing and be sure to hit that notification bell. Hit it again and select all so YouTube notifies you whenever I upload new videos. So now we're back to finishing up our DIY. These are the roses. See how they turned out? I love them. So I'm just laying them down just to see where I'm going to be placing them. I needed to paint them, so I had to tape them down. So what I did, I got a piece of tape and folded in one end, paste that down, and then did the same for the other end, and that's to get the adhesive side on top because I wanted to stick the rose on there so that they wouldn't move around when I'm trying to paint them. And I gave them a base coat of white apple barrel paint. And when that dried, these are the paints that I'll be using. I ended up not using the teal in the middle, so I'm going in with the yellow, the orange, the tea rose. And because I added the base coat before, they only needed 1 coat of the other color. So once I got them painted, I painted 3 each, and then I used my heat gun to dry them, and then applied some Mod Podge to both give it some sheen as well as to protect the paint. Here I'm now going in with the cross, and to raise it off the surface, I applied little strips of craft sticks. And after they dried, I laid them down on the cross just to see how they would fit, and evenly spacing the colors. And then after I did that, I then glued them on. What are your plans for Easter? I usually go to church. Most importantly, I use the time just to think about, reflect on what Christ did on the cross for my sins. And I think that is what Easter is all about, really. Now I found a piece of burlap because I want my project to look different from the inspiration piece. Thought that putting a piece of burlap right at the corner there would be ideal. So I trimmed it down and then glued on the edge. And then I'm gluing that right at the corner. Apply the hot glue and then trimmed off the excess. And then folded under what was left on the edge. Initially, I wanted to use this tea rose, but it was a little too big for what I wanted to look like, so I decided not to go with that. However, I took the leaves off and I trimmed those down. And then I had that little orange rose remaining, and I decided I'd put that in the middle. I glued that in. And then to balance that a little, I took a piece of burlap trim and just glued that at the top. And then added a burlap bow. And I also had another of the pink rose remaining, and I glued that in the center. And then I'm just fixing or measuring to see where I needed to glue the cross down, just to make sure that it was centered. And then I glued that in. Glued on a piece of jute at the back for hanging, and then to cover that up, I took a piece of the trim that was left and placed that on it, and this is done. Now we're here for the final reveal. Guys, let me know which one of these Christ-centered, faith-based DIYs is your favorite today. I love this one because of the rustic look that it gives. And this is one of the tags that I made in the video last week. Guys, go check that one out as well. You will love it. Here is my rugged cross. That's the name I'm giving it. Rugged cross. I love it too. So let me know, guys, which one of these is your favorite. Don't forget to check out the host channels and the playlist in the description box below. And let me know as well in the comments down below how you spend your Easter season. And if you like budget-friendly content like this, I suggest this video right here or this playlist. And stay safe, my friends, until next time. Bye!